Yeah, it actually had a pulse to it.
Later on, I like the Next Generation too, but they made it too peaceful,
Star Trek was originally billed as Wagon Train to the Stars.
Right.
And I like the whole Wild West swashbuckling, plundering, going to planets and getting into fights and getting a piece of the action in there.
Of course, Kirk was romancing all the women on the ship, and they didn't have, the separation of work and personal life back then in the workplace, so he got away with all sorts of things. And of course, Captain Picard, he never, of course, got involved.
No, but I know women used to like to watch Captain Picard. Like women got into him.
Yeah, they do. They like him. Because he's untouchable.
But I do like the original spirit of the Star Trek.
But you know what you should do is a painting of Captain Kirk where he, one of my favorite scenes is where like he'll fight off about 30 guys at the same time. And
Oh yeah.
there's one scene where he goes on that planet where there are two planets are at war and they don't actually have battles. They get a number of simulated battles and people go into these chambers to be vaporized. And he's fighting, the leadership, and there's like 20 soldiers and he throws them all off.
Yeah, how does he do that?
I don't know, but you should have a painting of it or something. Take a scene, watch the scene on YouTube of it, and then capture that scene and do a painting of it. 'Cause that would be a lot of work, but it would.
Kirk always had his two-handed back punch,
Right.
and that would somehow knock people out.
Right. Did you ever see and you could also do a scene from there's two pilots. There was the cage, and then there was where no man has gone before.
Yeah, I wanna paint a picture of the aliens, the big bald-headed aliens.
And yeah, and the Telosians, and then they had to where no man's gone before, and that was an amalgam of the cage and the regular series. It was in between.
Yeah.
They still wore the uniforms without the black collar. Spock was on there, but McCoy was not on there. Scotty wore the tan shirt instead of the red shirt. Sulu wore a blue shirt instead of the tan shirt on it. And Mr. Spock actually smiled and he goes, "Oh yes, your Earth emotion."
Yeah, I just saw that scene when he was on the planet. He lets out a big smile when he smells a flower.
Yeah, and then on the where no man has gone before, he smiled again. He says, your Earth emotion. But at that point, one of his ancestors had been human, but it didn't state that his mother was human, and that came after that episode. But that particular episode, he's sort of in between the cage and the regular series. It's sort of interesting. And I think Gary Mitchell was actually Kirk's second in command, and then he goes crazy with superpowers, and they had to kill him. But then I think after that, then Mr. Spock became the second in command.
I also
remember where they go in that barrier, that galactic barrier, and then Gary Mitchell gets superpowers, and they start, they go down to the planet and they start using superpowers to create gardens and different things, and Kirk has to stop his best friend.
Yeah. I found out something I didn't realize before the other day. The U.S. the Federation of Planets did not come until the second season. During the first season, the Enterprise was working primarily from an Earth-based federation, so the Federation of Planets was not invented until the second season.
As well as the Prime Directive.
Right.
Now, Gene Kuhn is the
Yeah. Well, the way Hollywood worked at that time, actors would go from show to show to show, and they just pulled from a stock of people whoever was available. So that's why you see Yvonne Craig in Star Trek and showing up in Batgirl, and then she'd be on different kind of shows too.
Right. Right. Now, Yvonne Craig was actually one of those green women, too.
Yeah.
When they went down to the psychological planet, the planet where they had the penal colony, and one guy escapes and can mimic other people's forms. She was crazy, too. So.
But I think a lot of the original Star Trek still holds true for today.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But it really is a show about the late 60s.
Well, as much. Plus, it was taking themes that would be relevant 20 or 30 years later. But like I say, one of the most interesting episodes is where they have the guys with the half black, half white face, and they have their faces switched, and one has black on one side, and the other one has the black on the other side of their face.
I want to make paintings of those guys. Did we used to have one of those dolls, or did someone else have that?
I don't know. Amigo had a collection of the different figures.
Because I remember they had... Go ahead.
The guy that played the Riddler played the guy that was chasing down the guy who had escaped.
Frank Gorshin.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite actors.
He's really talented.
Who also, incidentally, was in the film 12 Monkeys.
Oh, he was? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was one of the scientists. He just had a small part.
I'll have to read up on Frank.
So anyways, the guy goes, I've been chasing him from this quadrant of the galaxy, and Kirk goes, that's the that's the southernmost part of the galaxy.
They alluded to lots of things like the civil rights movement without getting too much into detail so that it would be metaphorical.
Correct.
Whereas in the Next Generation, they kind of skirted some issues. The original Star Trek seemed to be more direct about what they were commenting on when they did it.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see that Mirror Mirror comic book, and I
go down to your local comic shop, and you can ask for the Mirror Mirror comic book, and the IDW is the publisher, and get the collected edition. It has the whole story in it.
Oh yeah, I want to make an evil Spock painting. That's one of the things on my list.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The one with the beard. Yeah.
It's just great.
Yeah, that is. There's the whole thing about the Mirror Universe. They're talking on that planet, the Halkans, who have never had a war in their entire history. And he's bending over backwards to say how peaceful they are. And the next thing you know, he beams up, and they've gone into the alternate universe and they're about ready to blow the hell out of them. So, I like the irony in that episode. Because they become everything that they said that they weren't.
I couldn't get enough of that episode. We just wanted more. I was wishing it was a 2 or 3 part episode with the Mirror Mirror universe, because it was such an interesting premise.
Well, it's interesting you say a 3-part, because there's only ever been one 2-part episode in the 79 episode run, and that was the Menagerie.
Yeah.
It's the only that's the only two-part episode. And Next Generation had several of them, but the original Star Trek only had one two-part episode.
I saw that in the last couple of months. It's really good.
Yeah, Menagerie won a Hugo Award. It's one of the best ones, actually.
I like Captain Pike.
Yeah, I liked Captain Pike, too.
He was pretty standard, though, for a TV show. Shatner added a little pizzazz.
Well, there was an interview with Leonard Nimoy. He talked about the guy that played that actor, and it was his opinion that, he was a really good actor. They couldn't play off of him the way they could Bill Shatner. They couldn't have the same kind of chemistry that the three of them had. That, they couldn't have that with the guy that played him.
So then you get to Star Trek the Motion Picture, and all the chemistry just went out the window.
Well, they had an interview about that, too. And Robert Wise, I love the effects on it. They still hold up to this day. But he was trying to make 2001 A Space Odyssey,
Yeah.
a Star Trek, and Leonard Nimoy would say, the whole script went, hey, what's that? Well, I'm not sure. Let's magnify the screen and all this. And it was Harv Bennett that had done a lot of television work, and they're trying to search for a way to do a sequel, and they talked about the thing that would reforest the planets, and one of the producers said he would just say Star Trek, and what he did is someone described as make a 2-hour Star Trek episode for the movies. That's what saved the whole franchise with Star Trek 2, of course.
Yeah.
So it played out like a Star Trek episode, not like a movie.
And it's still a great movie.
Yeah, it's the best one, still. But Harv Bennett had a lot of television and knew how to write a script that played more on the characters. Robert Wise, who's actually done some good stuff. I think he was the guy that made the Day the Earth Stood Still, which is one of my favorite films. But he just really bombed on that. And I said it wasn't bad enough. There's actually there's even a 12-minute longer version of the motion picture.
Yeah.
But I really laughed.